Ladies and gents, Colin Hurd, everybody.
Yeah, you said you want to do the talking or the living.
This is Colin imagining he can read and write a poem by moving around. It's not the case, he's just moving around. This is Colin being embarrassed at the school disco, but that's the least of his troubles. This is Colin illuminated by Jordan and Holly up in the gods. Holly is wearing a lemon sweater. This is Colin as a small rabbit who is labelled as Maid Marian. This is Ingeborg Bachmann dying by falling asleep in her chair with a lit cigarette and burning alive. This is Colin with incredible cardiovascular fitness, no warm-up, and straight into his movement poem. This is the spheres of light in a concrete dungeon that's like an inverted quarry, and we find ourselves falling in love with Paul Celan. If only we could capture Paul's heart and get him to live a little bit longer. But nobody quite understands what Paul's been through. Even Ingeborg, who carries with her the guilt of Colin's youth, embarrassed at the disco, feeling like he's living inside of an inverted quarry. Maybe Colin, just having that small sense that there's free snacks for the poets, and no one's going to eat the Oreos, so someone's going to take responsibility and give them to the people who have decided to spend a Saturday night when they could be at Jim Bilston's reading, and instead come here to enjoy the European Poetry Festival. Can a person...
Yesterday, I did a reading in the Poetry Society, and then today, a friend of mine messaged me and said, which would you choose if you had to only choose one, poetry or society? And I was like, it would be a tough decision, but I'd probably just get rid of both. But I feel like what we're witnessing right now is what would happen if you got rid of both poetry and society. Also, I overheard a conversation just before this started, and someone was like, I think, anyways, pretty much I'm sure what I heard. Someone said, yeah, my boyfriend's a big fan of arsehole, so they're having a renaissance right now. I don't know. And it's not the only time I've ever misheard something though. One time I thought, or I kind of misunderstood what a bottomless brunch was. And I feel like this is also what we're seeing a demonstration of right now. But this is where the brunch is like already been cleared. And you arrive like slightly late, and the door's closed, and there's just like a tiny bit of orange juice that you can't get out, even though you turn the little tap as much as you can. It's still just the little bits. It's like orange juice with just bits of juice. Nice sound though. I once went, this is a bit embarrassing, but I once went, oh, time's up, Steve. Are you ready to do some hardcore talking?
When you're talking, it's kind of like a poem, only you're doing it out loud. When you're writing a poem and you're completely by yourself, you should publish it. Does it exist? Is Colin rolling along the floor in a giant empty cavernous space a poem? No, it's not. No matter what he says to you and no matter what he buys, it's just Colin as a teenager in the disco in an inverted quarry, living with lemons, thinking, what a shame that he reset the alarm by rolling over it. And you kind of feel like he's going to do it again, but that's what Colin's like. You learn to love him because his heart's good. No matter how many alarms he restarts, you can't live in judgment. Your heart has to reach out beyond that and think, I'm a giant lemon, I live in an inverted quarry, I'm Ingeborg Bachmann, I'm Paul Celan, I'm jumping into the Seine. What is the river that Nottingham Forest Football Stadium is in? Do you think Paul Celan would have jumped into that river? Maybe if he was a Nottingham Forest fan. I find myself as a small rabbit being Maid Marian and thinking, if only I'd known Colin when he was younger, if only Colin and I hadn't just met, if only Colin and I weren't brothers, if only Colin and I didn't do dancing lessons, if only Colin and I just wrote on the page and didn't annoy everyone at live events, if only Colin and I had excellent cardiovascular health, if only Colin and I were coordinated in an inverted lemon quarry and could find ourselves living free amongst the trees and the people with small rabbits, wearing medieval costumes and carrying bows and arrows and firing flaming rabbit teeth into the skies where Ingeborg Bachmann awaits us. Is she It's finished.
It's a damn good job I reset the timer, otherwise I wouldn't have had time for the Highland Fling. I think what we're witnessing now is a jumping slug, often found next to the sprinting tortoise, and suddenly an audience member appears, runs down the stairs, legs slightly wobbly like jelly. I feel like now what I want to do is reset the timer for an hour and a half. Steve just said that we just met, but that's not actually true. Steve and I met in 2004, that is. And I was 16 at the time, and Steve was 73. And since then, Steve has existed mainly on a diet of, you know that ice cream Cherry Garcia that Ben and Jerry's make? That's what Steve eats. Every morning, 3 spoonfuls, followed by a rigorous workout routine that involves moves like that. And that's how he stays so young, and that's how his hair grows so long as well. And Steve and I once went together on holiday to Corfu, and when we were there, they didn't have Cherry Garcia ice cream. Oh, sorry, I have to come back to another camera ad for the end of that story.
Thank you.